Welcome to the Notorious Scoundrels, a Star Wars Legion podcast bringing you the latest news, general perspective, and competitive discussion.
Hello and welcome back to the Notorious Scoundrels podcast. I'm Kyle. I'm here with Mike and Jay, who are co-located physically again. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, I was gonna say, but are you really? Are we really there with you?
I can't. I love that joke, and I want it to continue as long as it can.
Yeah, I mean, we're here, you're there. It's okay. Everything's
You
good.
could be
Well,
there,
you're co-located with each other, and I am in another state.
Right. These are choices you make.
Yeah.
Working.
Yeah.
Hey, we are working too, and I just want all our listeners to know that.
I know
we are also here working too.
It's kind of funny. So we're going to get into what we're talking about. But Mike and I, for those of you that haven't heard, we are working on this thing called Stormtide. But Mike and I were playing, and we're going to talk about that. And Rachel came out and brought dinner to us. And I'm like, I know it looks like we're playing a game right now, but I swear this is work.
We are nose to the grindstone.
Yeah.
Burning the candle at both ends here.
That's right. As we're like playing Legion on the table here in front of us, which you can see on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's burning the candle at both ends is probably closer to the truth than
Yeah. So leading in, we're actually for those of you, real quick, part of our housekeeping segment. I know you like saying that, Kyle, but I'm gonna just jump all over it. So housekeeping. Oh, I'm editing this episode. I'm not putting any drops in.
Yeah,
so,
okay. That's what I was gonna say. Don't worry about drops today.
Housekeeping. And so Stormtide. Mike and I, the reason Mike's here and the reason why you can see this table in front of you is because we have a very special announcement for those of you either who have already signed up for Stormtide and are waiting with bated breath, or for those of you who haven't really made a decision yet and you're wondering whether or not you should sign up for Stormtide. Well, Mike and I have created a free mission actually for Stormtide. It's a prologue actually. And as you can see on the table, one of the neat little effects of the what is it? The objective is terrain destruction.
It is. Terrain destruction is in the rules.
Yeah.
So I may have littered Jay's deployment zone over here with upturned buildings.
Yeah, some of these buildings you see turned over. That was Mike blowing my stuff to high heaven. And yeah, we're really excited about it. We wanted you guys to kind of get a taste of what we're doing because we know, because of the design of the product, we have to be secretive, right, a little bit, but we wanted you to get a taste. And the plan is to do these free missions. And you might have heard me say prologue, and because they're going to take part sort of before the story of Stormtide and tie in where they can. It's called Rising Tide, and it's going to be on the Stormtide website. You would subscribe to it like you would our Stormtide package, except for it's free. It doesn't charge anything, and then you'll get the downloadable package, and it's all print and play at home. And so I'm really excited about it. Mike and I have been working on, I've been doing the art. Mike's been doing the development, and we got to play it tonight, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
Well, and I'll tell you, because when I'm working on stuff, I'm not really like thinking about it on a table. I'm just like, okay, I got to design this now. What does this look like? And like, I'm worried about all the graphics and making sure the words are okay and stuff. And so I was like, I don't know. Yeah, this seems all right. And then when we got it on the table, I was like, oh man, this is really good. So it was a lot of fun. And the neat thing is, for those of you who are going to be playing Stormtide and who are going to be invested in the story of Stormtide, that what happens in this prologue, you'll be able to enter in the data and what happens on the website, just like you will a Stormtide mission, and it'll affect Stormtide in the future. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah. I think overall, this mission is really here to set up some of the narrative, like storytelling elements. You're going to meet some characters you may have received some emails from already if you're signed up for Stormtide.
Yep.
You're also going to meet some new characters kind of topically during the mission. And the mission is called Strike on Rigel 4.
Yeah.
And it's very much a city fight, as you can maybe see, maybe geared for more urban warfare, something we don't see a ton of in Legion. It's got all terrain guidelines for buildings, as well as what those buildings terrain rules are once they're destroyed.
Yep.
And you can basically, when you're going through the mission, you can kind of decide to destroy your opponent and the structures in which they're kind of sitting in, or you can maybe save the civilian population of Rigel 4. It's up to you, based on what you want to be doing. And I think
or in Mike's case, both.
Yes. Today was a great victory for Team Hurricane, I think.
So it's not quite an either or.
Yeah.
Well, my ATST maybe held down the fort long enough to
just held my entire army for 3 rounds basically. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm really excited for you guys to see it. Where this is kind of the things you'll expect from us, not only in the Stormtide boxes with all the other great stuff, the print product that we'll have, but ideally my hope has been that you guys will get deep into the story as like we want you to, and see how things are affecting the world of Stormtide after every mission. And so, yeah, we're really excited about that. So all you have to do is go to stormtide.thefifthtrooper.com. It'll be available in the store for free, Rising Tide, and just go ahead, subscribe, sign up, and you'll get the free downloadable file. And by the time this podcast is live, that'll be up on the website. So go check it out and let us know what you think.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it, Kyle. That's all I got.
Okay.
But that's not true. And if you want to support us, please check out our Patreon.
There you go.
At patreon.com/thefifthtrooper.
Yeah, go to the Patreon. We do an After Dark podcast.
We do. And we did, I think, was it last week that we do the Q&A? It's mind's
that was last week. No, it was last week.
So monthly we're doing a Q&A with the entire 5th Trooper squad. The 3 of us plus Dustin and Bushfax were on, and basically we had people come on and just ask us questions, and you can actually hear it. We released it as an After Dark episode, and it was a lot of fun. Some of the questions were great. The participation was really cool. We had a couple guys from Australia on there, a guy that was like literally 20 minutes from where I live that I didn't know about. Like, it's just like, oh, hey. So yeah, so
hey,
that
Jay,
was cool.
I'm your neighbor.
Yeah, that's right. He's like asking when we're going to be at our local store again. I'm like, why? Are you local? Yeah. Oh, all right. So yeah, perfect. I think that's it then.
There we go. I think we hit the marks.
All right.
We got
Awesome.
them all.
Well, we have a lot of we got even more reveals from AMG.
And because we're recording this on Thursday night, I think again we've hit the reveal jackpot.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
it was literally today that we got more.
Like they seem to be just revealing a lot more than they ever have, huh? Just this new AMG philosophy, maybe.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because this is kind of the first wave of reveals that they've actually done, and it's been numerous months after they took over the game that we're seeing this stuff. And granted, it is Yoda's supposed to come out next month, August, I think, late August.
I think so.
So we're a little less than 2 months out from a release for basically the first time since they've had it, besides I think the bus and the party bus and the lat.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're just kind of getting their feet under them with respect to the PR stuff, and we're not seeing it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a reason. Who knows? Maybe we'll see this kind of thing going forward. I don't know, but it's been kind of a gap in releases in general. So I think maybe they just haven't had a lot to talk about until now. We're finally getting something.
Fair enough.
These were all via Twitter.
Oh,
So there's actually several things we're going to talk about. All of them very furry. Well, not all of them. There's some upgrade cards that are not. But yes.
there might be. We don't know.
Yikes! Yikes!
All right. Well, let's start with the furriest of them all, Chewbacca. We did get a Chewbacca unit card previewed. This was actually, I think this might have been last week. I don't remember, after we recorded, of course. But yeah, this is Republic Chewbacca. And this is Commander Chewbacca. So he is...
Man, Republic just gets everything that's amazing, don't they?
I actually think that he is worse than Rebel Chewbacca.
Fair enough. I'm just trying to throw the salt out before we get.
Yeah. That's all. I know. That's all. I know.
So let me just get this right. In just this last bunch of releases, Republic got 3 commanders and a special forces unit.
Yes. Accurate.
Technically 2 special forces units, right?
Yeah, 2, right.
Yeah.
Because Wookiees are different, right?
Yes, that's correct.
I just wanted to be clear, as long as we're throwing shade.
That's good. Shade. It's good that they were really hurting. So I'm glad that we showed them.
Yeah, I really
love.
Need some help, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's funny is a lot of this stuff is like, this is a competitive podcast, so we can say things like this. A lot of these we're looking at it and it's like, it's not Rex.
yeah. No, that's how I feel about it too.
Yeah. But anyway, it is very exciting because it's new Wookiee stuff. So Chewbacca is 90 points like his Rebel counterpart. A lot of this is basically the same. He's got 2 training slots and a gear slot. He has 9 health, courage 2. He has surge hit instead of surge crit. But the bowcaster does have critical 1, so that's probably like, 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other kind of situation, unless you roll multiple surges, which does happen occasionally. But
yeah.
His attacks are the same, overwhelm, and his bowcaster are identical. 4 red for the melee with lethal 1, and then the bowcaster is 2 red, 2 white, impact 1, pierce 1, and then it's got critical 1 because Republic Chewie does not have surge crit on his card. He's got enrage 4, which is the same as Rebel Chewie. He has scale, which is also the same as Rebel Chewie. The other 2 things on here are extremely different from Rebel Chewie. He's got reliable 2.
That's a big deal, I think.
It is. I mean, think of how many times on that 9 health pool you roll surges on your saves.
Yeah. And he's not using them on offense ever.
Right. Yeah, this is purely for defense. So it makes his Guardian better. But the other difference between him and Rebel Chewie is he has Guardian 2, so it's less, and it's also Commander only.
Gotta save that Yoda boy.
Yep. And he's not throwing his furry body in front of any clones, clone trooper units. So probably a good thing.
Yeah.
That would be kind of annoying, I think, if he was just like using that giant 9 health pool to pull sniper pierce shots off of clones.
Oh, you don't think that would be fun?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. All right.
But he can Guardian commanders, which of course includes Yoda, who he comes with.
Maybe more importantly, he can Guardian Rex.
Yes, that's probably more interesting. I mean, you can definitely be more aggro with Rex with a walking carpet Guardian body next to him.
Yeah.
And Rex's attacks are pretty good. So.
That's what I hear. I hear.
Uh-huh.
It's word on the street.
Yeah, I actually think he's pretty interesting alongside Rex, even just without any command cards.
So I think the most interesting thing here from a design standpoint is that is this the only commander other than Vader in the game that technically, like, without being promoted, gives your army immunity to panic?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's enraged, right?
Yep.
He's got a dash for a courage value,
Yep.
so he makes all your clones invulnerable to panicking.
Oh my God.
Not that comes up that
it doesn't come up that
Yeah.
but It may be worth noting. I don't know.
It is worth noting.
You know,
What a throwaway line.
Yeah.
It may be worth noting. I don't know. Clone's not fearing anything. Maybe a big deal. I don't know.
Watch it. You're getting so angry your speeder bike is hanging out on your yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Other than reliable too, and talking about the kind of in the courage bubble, I'm not really sure what this brings to the table. I guess maybe we should talk about his command card.
We do. But yeah, I think in general the Guardian Commander is like significantly more restrictive than Rebel Chewie's Universal Guardian ability, which is one of the primary reasons you bring Chewie in the first place. So,
Totally.
all right, let's look at this command card.
I have a question.
You have
Yes.
a question?
Are his Rebel command cards available to him and for Republic? No, because they're all partnered with the other.
I think you could technically use them. They just wouldn't do anything.
Be as good, yeah.
I mean, I don't think they would do anything except give Chewie an order.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Chewie can use these new Wookie command cards that we will get to. And he can also use this one, which has this picture on it, Chewbacca. Very relevantly named Size Matters sometimes. Because when Yoda needs a bride, he needs a big furry taxi to get him out of Dodge, apparently. So yeah, the card art on this is Yoda's.
It looks like Chewbacca's training to become a Jedi, is what it looks like.
A little bit. I mean, Chewbacca looks actually kind of like, I mean, I'm sure he's pissed that he's being shot, not because Yoda's riding on his back, but this looks a little bit like non-consensual.
Yeah, a little. Oh boy.
know.
All right. Moving on.
Anyway,
I don't know when we gotta move on.
Yeah, okay.
card art aside, yeah, this is a 2-pip. It gives an order to Chewbacca and Yoda. If Chewbacca is at range 1 of a friendly Yoda, you may place that Yoda in base contact with Chewbacca. If you do, Yoda cannot perform moves, and after Chewbacca moves, place Yoda in base contact with Chewbacca. While Yoda is in base contact with Chewbacca, Chewbacca gains deflect, can spend Yoda's dodge token, and rolls red defense dice while defending or using Guardian. Thoughts?
It sounds fun.
Yeah. It's not immediately apparent to me. Like what this card is trying to, like, clearly you're trying to pick Yoda up and move him. And I guess it improves Chewie's saves.
That seems like the primary benefit here.
Yeah, I guess that's it. But the fact that he's only guardianing himself and Yoda makes it kind of like
It sounds like it's like what's his movement speed too still, right?
2.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's running 3. I mean, it just sounds like a cheap transport for Yoda, right? Like,
yeah.
I want Yoda to be over there now, right? And it's just, but not that far. Just, you know, like 2 range increments, basically, right? It's like maybe a little further because he's got to be placed in base contact. But it could start range 1 away from Chewie, so maybe range 3 range increments. You could technically move him.
Yeah, which is farther than like on a normal turn. Yoda has a speed 1 move.
Yeah.
And he has to spend actions to take them as those moves.
So like if you want to get him in the mix on something, I guess.
I guess looking at the text, I think this secretly is super, super fast Yoda. And let me explain why. You can move 3 times. Right. I don't think the text precludes you from moving Yoda due to what is it? What is this pull the strings thing? Guidance or whatever?
Well, you would move Chewbacca with guidance.
Right, which would then move Yoda. Right.
Yes.
Based on the text on that card.
Yep.
Can you move before you no, Yoda can't move, is what it's saying.
Yoda can't move.
Right.
But you could actually get like, depending on where Yoda is, you could get almost range 4 out of this card. Because if he's, range 1 away from Chewbacca on the opposite end of where you need him to go, he moves range 1 to Chewbacca. You use guidance, so he moves another speed 2 move, which is roughly range 1. And then Chewbacca takes 2 more moves, which is, up to almost range 4, basically. So yeah, this is kind of like teleporting Yoda. And even if you're not like if you're not using guidance to move Chewie, it's still essentially 2 free moves for Yoda, because he doesn't have to take actions to move that distance, right? Like even on his turn where he gets speed 3 with his 1 pip, you still have to like take actions to move Yoda,
Yeah, it seems like a late game box grab or key position, or like something where you last first, you last with Chewie and Yoda to get to where you need to go, and then you first on the final turn to kind of whatever take the position, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
In
theory, it seems like it would work, but
situationally very good. Potentially.
Yeah, I feel like this card's gonna have a lot of FAQs related to it. Like it sort of seems like, can Yoda really be carrying a box while riding on Chewie?
Can you place him in melee after Chewie?
Right.
Moves?
Yeah. Like does this preclude you from placing him in base contact with an enemy unit?
Can you force push either of them while this is happening?
Yeah. What if Chewie gets in base contact? Can Yoda then disembark and be in base contact?
There's some questions here.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think the answer is yes, based on the text.
Yeah.
I think you can force push Chewie, but you can't force push Yoda because cannot perform moves. And then if you force push Chewie, I think Yoda just like snaps back to base contact with Chewie. I don't know. There's definitely going to be an FAQ about this because
I think there's going to be a long one. This is going to be a long FAQ. Yeah,
not as long as the Force Lift FAQ.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, we will. You guys got any other thoughts about this and/or Chewbacca?
I think I would use the word cute. This is a cute.
Do you know where it would be really great to use? Now that I'm thinking about it, in our campaign.
Yeah, I mean, like, frankly, I didn't want to like pipe it like that.
No, I mean, listen. For those of you, most of you who are listening, I'm generally assuming are listening for the strategic and tactical stuff of the podcast to go be competitive. But for those of you that are just listening for fun, it sounds like a lot of fun. Like, I think it would be really enjoyable to use both Chewie and Yoda in the same list and some of the other Wookiee stuff. I mean, yeah, if you're just looking to have fun on a Friday night at your local shop, yeah, dude, do this. It sounds crazy. If you're looking to go to LVO or Adepticon to be competitive, I don't know.
Well, the nice thing about this card is because of how Yoda's cards work with the recycling, you can essentially
it's kind of free.
Just include you just include it in your hand, and sometimes you're going to play Yoda cards on 6 turns, and sometimes you're going to throw this in there in the situation where it's going to make a difference. So
yeah, and I mean, when was it? Whenever we talked about Yoda last week, I guess, I had said like I did a quick list build, and I was like, yeah, I got Yoda up to 10 activations already, right? So like you could pull out like one of the phase 1s that I had in there and put Chewie in and still be at 10 activations, and I maybe, I think you could be reasonably.
I think it'd be 9 probably.
Maybe this would be a good infantry bombing run list. Who knows? That'll
be interesting. Yoda and Chewie just carrying bombs.
Give them both bombs.
They're just like Yoda's just like juggling bombs on Chewie's back. You have a bomb.
You know what? I take
bomb
it back. Everybody should be playing this list. This is hyper competitive. Go for it. This is funny.
That would be pretty funny, actually. Not gonna lie. And you know what? When that bomb blows up, Chewie's got red saves.
Yep, that's it.
Love it.
All right, let's hit these. I actually want to hit these Wookiee command cards first because
which one?
Chewie can use these. Well, we got all three of them.
Yeah, but I want you to say it.
Yeah, please, Kyle.
What do you think it was like going to Lucas and trying to get these approved for licensing?
Well, it's funny because somebody on the Discord actually looked these up, and these are all somewhere on the internet reference like actual Wookiee phrases.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. So in fact, giving credit where credit is due, this was Florf on the Discord. But I will attempt to pronounce these just for humor. The one pip, which is
I think there's more oomph in it, but sure.
Yeah, longer. Imagine that, but longer. I don't know.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Kyle.
I can't decide whether you're patronizing me or not.
Well, it might be a bit of both.
Yeah.
Anyway, the one pip apparently means an old Wookiee proverb roughly translated in Galactic Basic, aka English, as people often mistakenly judge a tree by its branches, but a wise Wookiee knows its strength is in its roots.
Wow. It's like those old kung fu movies, you know, where
they say like one thing and there's like three lines of subtitles flying. Yeah.
Oh man.
The two pip.
Yeah, what's that one called?
Oh, look, we've got a Murloc.
Yeah, that was very Murloc-y. I'm sorry. I don't know. Anyway,
not making it any better.
No, I'm not. Up into the trees.
Okay.
Is what that means.
All right.
And then the three pip is just Yarg.
That's probably the easiest.
Probably
There
that,
you go.
basically, right? Something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go
Love
with
it. Love it. One more time.
No. An extremely angry roar is what that is, apparently.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. You guys want to read what these do since I've pronounced them?
Yeah, I got you. I'll deal with the English. You deal with the Wookiee.
Since it's way over there, I can't read it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I got you. So the one pip is one special forces unit or one support unit, which is kind of interesting. Maybe we'll circle around to that in a minute. Republic only when a friendly unit is issued an order by a commander Wookiee trooper unit. So I think Chewbacca or the Wookiee chieftain. If it is wounded or one or more of its minis has been defeated, it gains one aim, one dodge, and one surge token. And it's referring to the unit being issued an order. So it's kind of like a tenacity-esque effect for one unit. It seems okay. As far as one pips go, this doesn't scream like amazing to me.
What are the support units for Republic?
Well, that's a great reason thing you brought that up. I mean,
Barks
it's
and
pretty much
ATRTs.
Barks and ATRTs, which seems to maybe not be on brand.
But technically allowed to be given an order by this, it seems.
Yeah. So a little weird.
But they gain an aim, a dodge, and a surge.
Yeah. So like you're not like getting free tokens you can share, right?
Yeah.
Which worth
Well,
noting.
unless you give it to an arc. There's nothing to stop you from giving this to an arc unit.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
If they've lost the mini,
Yeah.
which, if you're running full arcs, you're probably not taking Wookiee command cards, but
Yeah. Okay. In any case, it's one aim, one dodge, and one surge on a one pip. Take it or leave it. I think it's fine if you're running like a generic Wookiees.
this feels kind of like the maybe a slightly better version of like the original generic command cards where it's got like a rank restriction on there, but it's just kind of like ambush plus.
Yeah.
It's like ambush with the free effect on it, basically.
Yeah, it's like overly complicated for like the wording
for what it does.
Yeah, for what it does.
They could basically just say,
Yeah.
give a unit an aim, a dodge, and a surge token.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah. Oh, I got it. Like Commander Wookie. It's like
Right. Units got to be wounded.
It's like so restrictive that it's just like if it were me, I don't play Republic, and none of this is convincing me to play Republic. But like, I just feel like this is too much. Like, there's so much energy and just like trying to understand when to use this. So it's just like, yeah, I'll just take the generic one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're running some kind of army where you have either Chewie or the Wookiee commander, and you have like at least one unit of normal Wookiees in it, this seems like a perfectly fine card to include to issue them an order and give them free tokens.
Sure.
So one thing that stands out to me though is like, this is a generic 1-pip that if you're not playing a Wookiee, well, like if you're just playing a clone commander and you're not running a vehicle, this is a 1-pip you can run. It's not restricted to right?
Yeah, it just probably
That's
doesn't do anything because it doesn't do it's just ambush unless the order is being issued by a Wookiee commander unit.
I mean,
I guess that's nice. Like if you're running either the Wookiee commander, Chewbacca, and a generic commander, and like the Wookiee dies, your
still play
cards aren't gone.
Yeah.
Right? That's okay.
Yeah,
it's true.
I guess.
Yeah,
it's a thought.
I think
it's an interesting point.
Yeah, it's fine. I think I don't know.
It's fine. Stuff. Yeah, things and stuff.
Things and stuff and stuff and things. So we talk about up into the trees.
Yeah, I want to mention one more thing with this though.
Yeah, go for it.
Because you can conceivably get extra tokens out of this if you give your chieftain or Chewie C's.
Seize the initiative. Sure.
Yeah, because if you would give your order to the special forces unit or whatever, and then you would flip C's, and they technically meet the requirement on this card when a friendly unit is issued an order by a commander Wookiee trooper unit.
And theoretically, you could like
to themselves.
You could get aim, dodges, and surges on like Kenobi and Anakin with this card, assuming that. Or no, because they're not issued an order to themselves. Yes, never mind. I take that back.
Yeah, it only works if you put C's on the Wookiee commander or Chewbacca.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but worth mentioning.
Yep.
Probably not worth taking C's just for this effect, but
if it was on a Jedi, it would be. But
yeah. All right, you want to hit the 2-pip?
Up into the trees. Yeah, 2 trooper units. It's a 2-pip. Republic only. Each friendly Wookiee trooper unit that is issued an order by a commander Wookiee trooper unit gains Agile 1.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a lot of free tokens for Wookiee units that normally already have offensive push stapled to them. So like they're getting 2 dodge tokens and a aim token on the turn they charge, plus 2 moves and a melee attack. Like that's some action economy. Right? Like that's 6 actions. This seems good to me. Looks like it also can benefit from your seize the initiative shenanigans.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it turns your Wookiees into Tauntauns basically for a turn.
Yeah.
With 3 dodge tokens.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean it's just like I just don't want to, I mean, this is a faction that everything's very expensive in, and it's requiring you to invest more in more expensive units, and so in order for the payoff.
I mean, yeah, right? Wookiees are not that much more expensive than phase 2s.
No, they're really not. It's like 10 points.
No, right, but but still 10 points in that seems like a lot for Republic, right?
Yeah, I think you're running a different list at that point.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
It's not a clone trooper list.
No, I guess you're probably you're probably doing the minimal requirements like what we were doing for Empire and Rebel, right? With 3 phase ones, maybe no upgrades, 3 Wookiee special forces, Chewbacca and the Wookiee commander, and I don't know, maybe some arcs and Yoda if you can fit it.
Yeah, I will say, these command cards seem to be suggesting that maybe incentivizing people to play things that have subtypes other than clone.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's kind of it's polarizing in that like it sort of seems based on like this card, you kind of want as many Wookiee troopers as possible. It's sort of like you need to hit a critical mass of these units, I think.
Yeah. Right, and without there being a core unit that's a Wookiee subtype.
Seems like it might be tough, but
I mean, you could definitely run a list with like a Wookiee Chieftain, Chewie, 3 Wookiees, and that's right around 500 points. That leaves you 300 points for whatever core you want to take to fill out the other 5 units or so.
Yeah, maybe take some naked phase ones and
I
don't know.
They're just kind of like assistants to the war. They're not actually part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like if we go back to the Battle of Kashyyyk, right? Who's fighting the battle? Is it the clones or is it the Wookiees?
Right, the clones are just like up in the trees, like, no, you want to attack them guys.
Right. Shoot that guy. Shoot that guy.
No, just charge right in. It's fine.
The clones are there as consultants, basically.
Yeah. That was the word I was looking for. Thanks.
Yeah, battlefield consultants.
Yeah.
I
like it.
All right, 3 pip.
3 pip. 3 troopers. It is 3 pip, Republic only. Each friendly Wookiee trooper unit that is issued an order by a commander Wookiee trooper unit gains demoralize 1. This is assault with upside.
Yeah, it's assault with a free effect on it, basically.
Yeah.
Huh.
And for everybody out there that doesn't remember what Demoralize 1 is, because it's on 1 card ever, I think, and it never ever sees play, I believe it gives when you activate, it gives a suppression token to a unit within range 2. It's on Fear.
Yeah, it's the opposite of Inspire.
Yes.
Yep.
And since it's dark side force power that takes up a force slot, nobody plays it because... it could be free and people still wouldn't take it. Maybe. But well, I mean, like you might put it on Palpatine.
You'd put
or
it on
something,
Palpatine,
right?
yeah.
Like but
not after this release.
Yeah, we're getting to that. I think. I think we're getting to that. Imperial players rejoice.
I mean, I clearly. And I think we knew this for a while when they added the Wookiee subtype into the RRG that they were heading somewhere, and they're clearly heading with that, and some of the other stuff that may be available on the internet for you guys to go look, you can see that this is a thing, right? That they're going in a certain direction.
Yeah, I dig it. I think it's nice to have some diversity. It sort of feels like they're building a sub faction within the Republic faction a little bit here. And
which is great.
Yeah. Cool. I'm still going to play Rex to my heart's content and have fun.
Maybe take him with Chewie.
Probably not.
Listen, I don't know if
give
you
it a shot.
this, but Mike is super competitive. So. He might do it here in the Stormtide offices, but I don't think he'll be doing it.
Yeah, I did play an ATST Boba Fett and 2 speeder bikes in the same list today.
Sounds fun.
It was.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good game.
All right, let's talk about these upgrade cards because these are competitive. Not that the previous cards we just talked about weren't, but these.
Hold on. Do we want to get Kyle's piece out of the way first and then go to the other ones? Because I've been honestly waiting all week for this.
Kyle's piece.
Yeah, Kyle has a rant about one of these upgrades.
Okay,
really
hold
excited
on.
About
we can't let him rant about it until we describe what this is to the audience.
I think we should just let him go. Just release the hounds. Let's see what happens.
I'll tell you what. Can I tee us up and then you can go on a rant?
Sure. I want to hear your guys' takes on it.
That's totally cool. It's just I'm normally the one ranting and maybe I'll follow up your rant.
So he's feeling jealous right now.
I am feeling a little jealous.
I want to hear you rant.
I don't rant very often.
It's okay.
No.
So let me just pull it up here.
Yeah.
So that I have all the card text
Oh,
in front of me. All right. So as many of you are undoubtedly well aware, Yoda's coming, and there's some sweet Force upgrades in his box. The first one we're going to talk about is called Force Lift, and I'm just going to read the text to all of you. So this is an exhaustible force power.
Yeah.
And it says, when you deploy, you may place a barricade at range 1, and then as a free action, you choose a barricade at range 1 and move it to within range 1 and height 1 of its current position. It is 5 points. It is a force upgrade.
It seems pretty innocent, Kyle. I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, Kyle, why don't you tell us how you feel?
Yeah, it's just mobile cover for your dudes, right?
Yeah,
that's not a big deal.
That's all it is.
I mean, it's not anything that AA5 doesn't do.
I don't like that either. All right. So I have so many questions.
Okay.
To me, this screams like, how can competitive players abuse this? The ways are many. And I don't really see a lot of like strategic, like most of them are not strategically interesting. They just make your opponent feel like crap. For example, if there's barricades on the table and you get one, and there's usually going to be at least one other one. Most real tables have somewhere between 6 and 8 barricades on them because it's easy, heavy scatter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard to like wall off objective markers with barricades. You only need 2. You just put them like this around the objective, and then you can't get to it.
So for those of you just listening on the audio, he just basically made a rectangle with the 2 barricades.
Yes. And if you offset that rectangle, you can even like, it's kind of hard visually, but
yeah. So if you take one leg, if you take like the right leg of one barricade and the left leg of the other barricade,
yeah,
and then put the circle in the 2 corners. Yeah.
Yeah, you just do that basically.
Yeah.
And then you can't access it at all. So you could do that to like, the middle box. You could do it to one of your opponent's objectives.
One of their evaporators.
Right, one of their evaporators. I mean, chances are they'd be able to like finish the evaporator before you got to it with barricades. But you could certainly do it to your own evaporators after you finish them off, and then you seal them up and run away.
Unless you put Yoda and Chewie and did super move over there.
Yeah, right.
Or you just let the terrain be destructible, but I guess that's not a thing in competitive leading.
It's not. There's no qualification here that barricades have to be actually placed like. Excuse me. Oh, I wish I had a barricade with me.
I have one.
Can't really see it from there, but
along their long edge. So presumably you could like stand it up on its side and make like a line of sight blocking wall of barricades.
So I have a fundamental question that I'm testing out in front of me. What happens if there's a trooper model on top of the barricade in which you're trying to move?
I don't know.
I was able to get it to balance. I'm just curious if like Boba Fett jumped up on top of a barricade and then it was force lifted. Does he fall? What's the protocol here?
So go with it,
right? That'd be really cool. It's like Vader's might, but with
it's pretty common for even like not small base units, but vehicles and stuff to be resting on top of barricades.
Yeah.
What about objectives where barricades can be the objective? Like, what happens in payload if you have a barricade near your deployment zone?
The answer is you don't get to score your payload ever.
Right, because you're like, you nominate your opponent's terrain piece. So if you've got force lift and there's barricades on the table, you pick a barricade and then you just move it away from your opponent's payload.
You could technically kind of do that for key positions too, right?
Yeah, do the same thing.
Yeah.
Seems great.
I don't know. This feels like one of those situations where like you could roll up to a table and you're facing Yoda and payload flips in that third spot, and there's barricades on the table, and you're like, I guess I lose. Like, I don't know. This doesn't seem to like. I feel like there are much cleaner ways to create something that just gives mobile cover to dudes without creating all these extra issues about moving terrain around. If you're a TO and you've like carefully placed all your barricades in specific spots on the table, like, do you have to go back and check your tables in between rounds to make sure that the barricades are all where you want them to be?
No, I think you just leave them where they are. So, this also doesn't specify like, can you put like a barricade like that?
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like you could create a line of sight blocker with barricades.
Nice.
Standing upright for those of you listening.
Is this taller than a tank? Is that taller than your Gav?
Yeah. Well,
could you block a tank's movement with it?
That's what I'm asking. Yeah. All right, fam. The answer is yes.
Yes. You could trap your opponent's tank with barricades. I mean, and this is for TOs that are considering all these questions. It also gives another thing for them to think about when they're making a table. Like, do I really want to put barricades on this table? How many barricades? Where do I want to put them? Beyond just like, well, this is a good cover spot for this barricade.
I'm gonna be honest. I was joking in competitive chat. I wasn't really joking, but I just put it. David used to be like hashtag ban line and wait. I actually think hashtag ban force lift is reasonable.
Yeah. So what's to say, right? Because let's say the tables don't have barricades, but you put fortified positions in your list, and now you got barricades everywhere.
Yeah,
plus,
I mean, if you're taking
additional one,
if you're taking force lift, I think fortified positions is in your battle deck.
So you've got fortified positions, and oh my god, yeah. Just keep moving the barricades in their way so that it's harder for them to get to objectives.
Congratulations, you never get to make a speed 2 move again.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I get that it's range 1, which is short, but I don't know. It's probably one of those situations where like most of the time you're not gonna, like, this is not gonna be flagrantly abused in some way that's gonna win or lose you the game. But even if it's like 10% of the time that happens, like, it's gonna feel really bad.
I think that's fair.
Because it's like, well, I guess I just can't interact with the objectives because my opponent took this force power.
So just to play devil's advocate, isn't that basically what force push does? Like, I know it's not inherently the same effect, but I do think it's similar in that, can you interact with like a key position if force push is on the table? Yes, but it's very difficult to do so, right? Like,
for one unit.
Sure.
Like, that's...
or with Yoda 2 units, right? Like, I just...
Right.
Well, I think the difference is, I can give you an example, right? Is that, let's say with key positions, okay? With force lift, if the key position is a barricade, which, I mean, I think you could stop that easy by TOs just not putting a barricade in the middle of the table. But let's say it is, and your opponent moves all their people to get to the key position, and at the last minute you just move it back and then base it, right, as like your last order, and now they've just lost that entire position.
Like, clearly this is more abusive. I guess what I'm attempting to suggest is that it's just a more flagrant abuse as opposed to, I don't know. Like I think force push is similarly abusive to the rules.
Force push is also not super interactive in that it just happens.
Yes.
But force push only affects one unit at a time instead of your opponent's entire army's ability to interact with something. It's timing sensitive, because if you force push that unit before it activates, then it can just move and undo what you did, right? There are several abilities that move units besides the move action. to mitigate force push with. So yeah, I get what you're saying. There are definitely other things in the game that are also not interactive.
I inherently
really
like the idea of it. Like I like having Vader and then just putting a barricade and just like having heavy cover the whole time because of how fast force users die. Like I think I get the like
so
the gist of what they wanted to do. It just there's definitely abuse that can happen.
I guess my question would be, so clearly this was likely developed before AMG took over, right? But Marvel Crisis Protocol is a game full of like moving terrain and like destroying terrain and stuff like that. And I don't play it. So, but my understanding is it's pretty competitive. Yep. So I guess my question is, what inherently is different between these two games? They're both alternating activations. They both have like a lot of objective tokens. Is this an issue specifically with barricade? Like if this was a different type of terrain piece, would it be okay? Would it? I don't know. I'm just tossing it out here.
I think movable terrain. I have not played Crisis Protocol, so I guess I really can't answer that question. I have definitely heard from people that play both Legion and Crisis Protocol that Crisis Protocol is neither competitive nor balanced. Okay. But I don't play it, so I don't want to speak just based on what I've heard from other people. For Legion, just coming from my perspective as a Legion player, movable terrain, for all the reasons we described, whether it's a barricade or something else, it just feels like it opens a whole can of worms that makes the juice not worth the squeeze.
Just because specifically the objectives and your ability to score points to win on a number of cards hinges on terrain, and so being able to destroy or move it is what the problem, right?
I guess my question is, like, if key positions and payload didn't exist, would this be fine?
I think the uses for blocking would still be significant. I think there would be less situations where you're like, I guess I just lose this game. So, but you could still use it to wall off the other objectives. It'd be a little more work.
But let's say, what if every trooper unit in the game could take an action and displace a barricade? Would that fix this?
Yes.
Right. I imagine Marvel Crisis Protocol has like
it must
kind of like because like
more issues though.
Maybe an action's a lot, and maybe I don't know. Just a thought. I'm just positing potential solutions to have cool effects in the game as someone who's designs stuff. It's an interesting space, I think, to work within. Obviously, I think this feels a little maybe not completely thought out.
Yeah, I think too, from a positive side, is do you just say that it's the AMG or FFG specific barricade, and then as a TO, you just make terrain or have terrain on the table that's just not those barricades. So then the only time this is effective is whether it's with force lift and fortified positions. And then it stops, Kyle, your concerns outside of blocking off, but the other payload and key positions don't become issues anymore. And then it's really just blocking off. That's harder than, it's a scenario that could happen, but that seems really tough to make happen.
If there's no barricades on the table, then this isn't an issue,
right?
Because then the only barricade on the table is the one that you're dropping.
I think that, or fortified positions, right?
Or fortified positions.
And so I think the answer may just be, hey, as a TO, don't put barricades in these positions, or don't put them on tables.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a tough sell for a while.
Sure.
But I mean, like, these barricades that you've got are like, they're just 3D printed or something, right? And these are not barricades, they're walls.
Right, but
Right.
same size, same height. But
Suppose you like you have force lift and you roll up to a table and there's 3D printed non-FFG barricades on the table. Your opponent's like, those aren't barricades, and you're like, yes, they are. You know,
yeah,
like,
I mean, the TO.
like, that's another question here. Like, what's a barricade?
yeah,
I think I'm pretty sure barricade is actually defined.
It is
in the RRG. So, but yeah, I mean, clearly it's crappy to like pay points for something and then show up to a tournament where people have actively made sure that your thing is the least good as possible. Like that feels bad too. So
yeah, and it's also like, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like, do you really want to give the TOs one more thing to think about when making terrain other than, is this going to be a good table to play on?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I suppose too, right? They're already having a hard enough time putting together terrain, and they use the barricades because they don't really have a lot else to use. And now you're like, yeah, don't use those, man.
Well, and a barricade is a good, like, tactically interesting terrain piece too.
Yeah.
You know, like the shape, the fact that it's, you know, linear scatter. Like, it's a good terrain piece that I think should be on most tables. And I hate that we now have a reason to be like, do I want to put barricades on those tables? Where do I want to put those barricades? How many barricades? You know.
Do you think this incentivizes people to just take a force users with force lift so they don't get screwed?
It's tough because if you've got one of the 2 slot force users, it's a much harder sell because, you know, you can put force powers in there that are like guaranteed to be useful.
Yeah.
If you have a 3 slot force user like Yoda or Dooku or Palpatine, I think this is a strong consideration for, like, A, sometimes I can just hit the win button before the game starts, and B, I can prevent the same thing from happening to me. Like, if I'm going to a tournament, you know, after this release, and there's no FAQ out there that clarifies any of this for us, yeah, I'm bringing Dooku or Palpatine and I'm throwing this on them because there's like, you know, if you get payload in that 3rd slot, there's like a 25% chance that if your opponent doesn't also have lift, you just basically win.
Is there any amount of FAQ that fixes this card?
I think the FAQ would have to be something like, can you move a barricade that is nominated as an objective? No. Can you place a barricade within a speed 1 move of an objective? No. Something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'd have to be that.
I just want to be like clear,
See,
like because those are kind of like I think the nomination one I think maybe is like fair and fine, but the whole like range one seems a little obscure to me.
Yeah, I almost, so for me, I agree 100% with your first one, right? You know, key positions or payload, you know, and stopping that from happening. Your other one, though, I kind of like having as part, like, it's almost like a challenge that seems very difficult to do. It seems difficult to do to use this card to put 2 barricades around a thing, like,
Doesn't seem difficult at all to me.
To block it out before before the other team kills you. I mean, force users aren't that, like, I don't know.
I mean, I guess you can use this card a total of what, 12 times? Well, I guess if you're, yeah,
you get 6
12
times.
Well, you could recover it every turn, right?
Yeah,
sorry, you could do
yeah.
you could do it 8. You do it 8 times.
Yoda could do it 8 times. Everyone else can do it 6.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it does with 8 moves total. It does seem sort of like a stretch that you'd be able to move 2 barricades across the table.
But you don't have to move them across the table. If it's recover the supplies, you only have to move them to the middle. And odds are there's at least 1 barricade within range 1 of the middle already. You can place your second one reasonably close enough, depending on the deployment.
Sure.
Can they do it before the Mandalorian gets in and jumps out? Like, I mean, you're gonna probably like it seems like the earliest they'd be able to really effectively achieve that on is turn 3 or turn 4, right? Probably.
I mean, if your opponent has a Mandalorian, then they've got a shot at grabbing that middle box on turn 2. If they don't, then they're like gonna be putting a unit in significant danger to try that.
Yeah, I just think like that your second position is more complex.
Sure.
And seems like an outlier, though possible. I'm not saying not possible. Seems like more of an outlier and like hey, if you're going to even try this, then I don't know, maybe you should get it, because that seems real complex with everything else that's going on. You know what I mean, in the game. And if you're just going to spend your force users first 3 or 4 turns trying to yeet some barricades around an objective token, then I don't know, go for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on like, if they can do it safely or not, right?
Yeah.
Like, if they have to stand out in the open for 3 turns to move a bunch of barricades, I don't think that's probably particularly worth it. But
But I don't know, maybe it is. Who knows?
I think you'd also want to add the sideways thing, that it has, just like fortified position says, that it has to be placed flat.
Yeah.
Because technically you could, if it was sideways, that'd be impassable for a trooper model too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It definitely is taller than a trooper model.
Yeah.
Especially if you had 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, can you stack them on top of each other? Can you put a barricade on top of a barricade?
I don't see why not.
Can I make a barricade pyramid? And do I get points for doing so?
And just put Yoda underneath it, like.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a way to prevent like an AAT from covering the middle objective in KP. Just stack 2 barricades in the middle, end over end.
See, so I don't hate that, is the thing, like that. So just to kind of go back to the.
I also don't think you should be able to cover a KP with a tank.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is not the first iteration of a rule that abuses objectives to the point where you can't score. Right?
No, it's not. And frankly, like, I wish we didn't have those other ones either.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be able to cover a KP with a tank.
I disagree with you. I enjoy it.
You're wrong.
How can I be wrong? It's my enjoyment. I didn't say it was good. I just said I enjoyed it.
Well, Jay, I'm going to surround your tank with vertical barricades.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You bring a force user and you get them within range 1 of the middle objective, and with my tank and ATST, and see what happens.
Well, probably. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Anyway.
All right. Let's move on. What's the next one there, Mike?
Have we achieved the rant?
TLDR,
Okay.
force lift, hate it.
Okay, well, before we get off the force lift,
no.
I know that we've been here a while. Is it top 3 force powers?
I think so. Just because like of that slot machine chance that you can basically just win the game.
5 points win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, outside of Kyle's, slot machine stuff, I like having heavy cover all the time on my force user, like that.
Yeah.
Like especially a Vader, like that, or Palpatine. That seems really good.
Fair. Okay.
That's the other thing. It's not like it does nothing if you don't pull the jackpot on the slot machine.
Yeah.
All right.
It does what it was probably intended to do, which is give your dudes heavy cover.
Yeah.
Which is still great. So.
Yeah, totally. So shall we continue in the realm of game-changing, game-breaking force powers in Yoda Grandmaster of the Jedi Order's pack? Second on the list, burst of speed. Anybody's,
I'm sorry, I just thought of something else that's abusive with that. Like, so you could totally pull a barricade. Like, if your opponent's units, like let's say, are behind the barricade, you just pull the barricade and then your army just shoots them and they no longer have cover. And
I mean,
like that.
I actually think that's intentional.
Yeah, that seems fine to me.
But it just hit me. It just hit me as another use of it. I was like, oh wow, yeah.
Totally.
Duh. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
That seems like something that's like strategically clever and effective in a way that's not abusive.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Might feel bad, but it's not abusive.
Right.
Yeah. So the next one up here is burst of speed. Anyone that's played any Star Wars video game with Jedi Knights in have probably been waiting for this one. This one is a discard, so you get to use it once at the start of your activation.
Because they only used it once in the Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah. At the start of your activation, treat your maximum speed as 3 until the end of the round. If you do gain one immobilized token at the end of the round, it is a force power and it is 3 points.
Light side only. Just kidding.
Empire players rejoice.
Yeah.
Vader and Palpatine are great again, is what this card says to me.
I love this on Palpatine. This makes your now you will die threat range, which is currently like just a little over. So by the threat range, I mean double move plus the attack range.
Sure.
It's currently just over range 3 or 20 inches for those inch inclined. This essentially turns it into almost range 5.
Yeah,
20,
it seems
28 inches.
Seems really good.
Hey, could you imagine just this old man is like zip across the like battlefield and it's just lightning your entire army? You're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I think timing is still really relevant on Palpatine, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just zap a bunch of stuff on turn 1 and then not have a Palpatine and expect to win the game.
You need a follow-up plan when you do this.
I think I like this better on Operative Vader.
I think I like this better on Commander Vader. So here's the thing.
Okay, tell me.
With Darkness Descends
Yep.
on turn 1,
Yep.
if you infiltrated exactly range 3 and then scout 1 immediately towards your opponent, you can base whatever you infiltrated away next to on the first turn. Because you get a speed 1 move from the scout on Darkness Descends, then you get 2 speed 3 moves, which is more gets you farther than range 3.
Oh, I didn't even think about it as both your movements would be speed 3.
Yeah, you get 2 speed 3 moves with Commander Vader. So,
I don't know why I was thinking once. I don't know why I was just
and then if you play Implacable, you get another speed 3 move because it's for your.
No, you do not.
It's for the round.
Well, I guess you get a speed 2 move.
Oh, right, because you got him immobilized token.
But still,
right?
Speed
so
2.
Well, right, and then
the
immobilized token comes off.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like deal with being slow, right?
Jeez.
Yeah.
So this is really good on Commander Vader. I mean, I think you can make a case on Operative Vader. The issue I have with Operative Vader is that I think you still want Force Push and Force Choke on him almost always. With Commander Vader, I think this is an easy substitute for Saber Throw because you're just like, I don't need Saber Throw anymore. I'm going to be in it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the reason I was saying, because, it seemed a lot more threatening. Like I could get further, like if I spur like that first turn, and then use the speed 3 the next turn. I mean, I'm basically like hauling ass across the entire field to get, the movement options, I think are there, but yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the 2 most obvious applications. I think, I dare say, any Force user that you would take that maybe you're leaving their slot empty, this
3
is
points.
not a bad thing to have in your back pocket for 3 points.
Yeah, Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're leaving one of his slots empty because you don't have the 5 or 10 points, but you do have the 3. I think this is very reasonable. This is much more powerful than like a recon intel. And it's only 1 point more. It clearly costs an expensive slot, but if you have a free one, I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think any Force user with 3 slots is strongly considering this for that 3rd slot.
Yeah, man, it really brings Darkness Descends back into the fold.
I think so. I mean, you still have to like not get shot and everything.
Sure.
But I just I think it allows some before when you couldn't actually get where you needed to go on turn 1. That's why the Vader lat thing is so powerful. I think it's because you can have him in melee on turn 1. Well, guess what, fam? You don't need a lat anymore. So I guess that list is terrible now.
I mean, I think it's not quite as good as the lat delivery system, but it's also like 120 points cheaper. So
yes, right. Like congratulations, lat. You've been outdone by a 3-point upgrade card. The only thing you were good at. Yeah. So
I think I don't know. So I think you take Commander Vader with Force Push, Burst of Speed, and then the Barricade movie. You just
well, it's worth noting that he'll probably outpace the Barricade.
Yeah, absolutely. But
what if your opponent has barricades?
Wait, what if they have barricades? You just start throwing them at them. Like, sure. I mean, yeah.
Yo, I didn't even consider that it's when you deploy. So if you put Force Lift on Vader or Maul, for that matter, you infiltrate, and then you can put the barricade wherever you want.
Oh, can you imagine if your opponent puts Evaporator like up against the wall? Yeah. And you just infiltrate Maul next to it, and then you drop the barricade like here.
Oh boy!
Yeah, get wrecked.
And then as they're trying to come up to you, just burst the speed into them and just wreck them. Oh man, so good. That's so much fun.
So do we feel like the immobilized token here is a huge cost?
No,
I mean it's not nothing.
Seems like a big deal on Palpatine.
Yeah, like you're stationary on the following turn.
Yeah.
Which is why you really need to, calculating your timing with the Now You Will Die is already sort of more art than science with Palpatine. And the answer is not always, as soon as he's in range. I think that's even more true now that this is a thing, because he's going to be in range much sooner. But you still have to kind of there's like with Palpatine, there's like a tipping point in every game where Now You Will Die is going to like turn a game from, maybe I'm losing a little bit, or it's even, to like I've just won the game. And I think that's still true. Yeah. Because Palpatine's usually in one wound after you do that. So if there's anything left to kill Palpatine, and you lose Palpatine, and that's not like something that you can deal with, then that's a problem. And I don't think this changes that at all. It just means that on the following turn, he's going to be stuck where he is.
Yeah, and I was just rereading the card. Vader is also stuck where he is.
Yeah.
After he goes, the immobilized token doesn't actually go down until the end of the round,
right,
as opposed to the end of his activation. So he will get a third speed 3 move on his implacable turn, but he will be rooted to the spot on the following turn.
And I guess that's why, like, your question was, is the juice worth the squeeze on that one? And I think so, because I think what it is it's an additional tool that you didn't have before, that maybe you won't use you may not even need it every game, right? But when you do need it, I think it'll definitely be worth having an immobilized token if you do it correctly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit less of a deal on Vader because you're using it hopefully to get into melee.
Yeah.
And hopefully you leave yourself a unit that you're giving a warm hug to in melee, and then on the following turn, if it withdraws, you just force push it back into you.
Yeah, or even like the next turn, play Vader's Might, and now you got 2 potential options to bring in units into you, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
I dig that. I just wanted to point it out.
Yep.
Cool. So I think those are the first 2 upgrades. What else are we looking at here today? I think the other ones are training upgrades, right?
They are.
So, right. Okay.
Oh, right.
I just want to preface, I mean, we're already deep. All of these cards are good.
They are. And I like, by the way, that a lot of these cards, they come in the Yoda pack, but most, if not all of them, are arguably better on other units.
Yeah, totally. With maybe the exception of Force Lift, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like these 2 training upgrades to me scream like IRG.
Personally. Yep.
We could talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So the first one, Protector, is an exhaustible training upgrade. It says while using Guardian, You can cancel critical results as though they were hit results. During the end phase, ready this card. 5 points. So I don't think this is good on IRG. I think this is good in one place and one place only.
Okay.
What's that?
I think it's good on Kenobi.
Because you just use it one time to cancel a crit and spend a dodge.
I think like Kenobi's got barrier.
Yeah. He's
got Guardian with all of his dodge tokens already. I think this improves that kit. I think when we're talking about something like IRG, like is it nice to Guardian a crit? Yes, but I think most of the time there's hits in that pool to Guardian anyway. For the most part. I just like, is it worth 5 points to sometimes get the crit? I don't know.
So explain to me during the end phase, ready this card.
It's like improvised orders where it just like you used it this turn, you get it back at the end of the turn. It's just
so for me, and this is solely based on a list that I just played with you, my Callus Vader list.
Yeah.
It has IRG in it. A lot of times, I actually, a lot of crits are coming through on Vader, and I'm like, especially if I'm playing clones. And so I would like to Guardian those. Yes, please, so that Vader can stay alive. It's worth the 5 points to keep at least 2 wounds off of Vader every turn. And Palpatine, I would think, too.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Mike. I do think that Palpatine can kind of replicate that effect because he can also take barrier.
Sure.
And there are definitely more situations probably than you realize that come through with where crits are the only paint that are getting through cover and dodge and whatever else is on there.
Sorry, I'm used to just rolling 8 hits past cover.
Yeah, I know.
So.
I know this for Rex player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not everyone can just score 8 hits every shot there, Rex.
Sorry, I don't know. It's what I do.
Yeah. I do think the reason that this is sort of like a maybe on IRG is because they only have 2 training slots, and I think you definitely still want tenacity, and I think you also still want this other training upgrade.
So it depends. For you, when you play Palpatine, absolutely. But the way I've been using them as like with the Callus, and you kind of saw it tonight, is I just murder ball my list and I just spread the IRG in there, and they're just kind of protecting the shore troopers, Callus, Vader, like they're protecting everybody.
You're also taking them naked though, basically.
It's just naked them, right? 3. And so I let
pure bullet sponge.
Yeah, exactly. So this is really good for that, right? Because now it just broadened my horizons a little bit. But go ahead. Let's talk about the next one.
Okay. This one, so I know that we've talked about a lot of broken cards today. I think this one might be the most broken. This one's called Into the Fray. It is a training upgrade. When an enemy unit at range 1 activates, you may gain 1 surge token, 4 points. On its face, it doesn't seem super broken, but I think once you start thinking about it, things change pretty rapidly.
I mean, range 1 is very short. This is definitely meant for units that are like gonna be in your opponent's face.
Yeah, agreed. So I'm imagining you play this on Anakin, and look, I'm not gonna say Anakin is in anywhere great right now. But if there was a way to make Anakin good, so a card like this might go a long way to getting there, in that, you bury Anakin in your opponent's army and he's getting surge tokens every time they activate, and then he's got exemplars, so he's just dumping those surge tokens off to your entire list. Right? Like this card on something that shares tokens could effectively read gain 8 surge tokens over the course of a turn.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Which like, it's 4 points. Aggressive tactics is 15, and you get half that. And clearly that's like a little bit Magical Christmas Land, but I don't know.
It seems like, I mean, at least in your example, like all of the times when you're going to be sharing these are with clones. And like this will definitely net you some extra surge tokens, but there's also a little bit like diminishing returns with surge tokens.
I mean, you say that, but when you spend them on offense, they're pretty good too.
Yeah.
You know, I think so. When I look at a card like this, I really wish we had a sliding point scale, because I think a card like this for Royal Guard could easily be 4 points, right? Like that's reasonable. But if you put it on Anakin, it probably should be like 15. You know, I don't know. That might be overkill or whatever. But, you know, Yoda can use this. Does he have a training slot?
He doesn't have a training slot.
He doesn't have a training slot. All right. Yeah. Yoda can't use this. But, you know, I just like, you could put it on full arcs. They get into melee all the time.
They do.
You know. So that's how I feel about this.
As far as like non-token sharing, token printing uses of this card, IRG seemed like a great candidate for it because they don't surge in either direction. And, you know, if you're not just using them as a pure bullet sponge, you want them to be close to things that they can hit with their sticks. This seems great for Maul, who often leaves that second training slot empty anyway, and is often at range 1 of enemy units, and doesn't surge in either direction.
Often has 20 points left over to spend.
So what's 4?
I just gave Mike a look for those not watching on the YouTube. This seems decent on... I mean, Wookiees are probably still just taking tenacity and offensive push. But, like, you know, if you want like a ridiculous tar pit Wookiee melee unit, throw the shield on a Wookiee Warriors unit, give them tenacity and this card, and you've got a unit with armor 1 and surging saves and melee and 12 wounds. It seems difficult to kill.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I think all these upgrades, Force Lift aside, the rest of them are all really cool. And I mean, Force Lift is still really cool, barring the potential competitive ramifications. But I like that they're adventuring out in what they're doing. Like, as much as I hate that Republic has all these commanders and just got all these cool units, I like that the Wookiee subtype stuff. And I like that they're trying new things and they're expanding the game in general. I think that's only positive.
Yeah.
And we can nitpick from a competitive standpoint how this is going to screw us, but it's good. It's good. The game's expanding. That's a good thing.
I mean, in fairness, I think Republic's up to 7 commanders. I think that's about where everybody else is, right? I mean, other than Separatists.
So I wasn't saying that they shouldn't have that many. I guess I'm just saying we're not really doing the like tick for tack releases anymore.
Everybody gets everything at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
So
just kind of like Republic.
I think that whole design philosophy was completely unreasonable and was bound to fail.
Eventually.
I think eventually, right? I don't know. Like the whole mirror thing.
Don't do that.
Other games don't do that. The whole like faction mirror thing kind of doesn't work when there's more than 2 factions, right?
Yeah, it's but what other games do is, you know, more erratas and point updates. But like, you know, is that it's hard when what happens is a faction gets left behind, like Empire's getting left behind right now.
They just got burst of speed, man. I think they're ready to go. Are they going to have to buy Yoda? Probably. Yeah.
Well, here's an interesting thing on the Yoda store page. It looks like there are 2 copies of burst of speed in the box. So maybe make friends with somebody who plays Republic.
But what I'm saying is, you know, when it feels like a faction is being left behind, and then one of the factions that is very successful and very good is getting unit after you, like, not that the lat is good, but they just got the lat, then they got, Yoda, Chewbacca, the Wookie, like the Wookie warriors. Like, it just seems like the rich keep getting richer, and that's okay. It's just, I understand what you're saying. You can't really mirror all of that, but sometimes it just feels bad when something's getting left behind. Like, okay.
Well, and I think we see this in other games. Like, I just using Warhammer as an example, like every time we get a new Space Marine Codex, Space Marines are at the top of the heap, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of how that feels to me.
Yeah.
And that, like, Republic is finally getting like completely fleshed out. It sort of seems like Separatists are pretty close, are getting like similar releases here pretty soon. And like, Empire and Rebels have kind of been on the back burner. And
I disagree with that. They just got Wookiees and a party bus.
Well, I think the only reason they got Wookiees, though, is probably because they did Wookiees for Republic, right? Like, in the same way that, like, I think it's possible the only way the reason the Empire got the lat is because Republic got the lat, right? Yeah. So, I think there's stuff like that, but I do think that, Rebels clearly have weathered this storm a little better, and at the end of the day, somebody was gonna weather it better, yeah. Right? Like, it's just, that's how it works. But I think everything goes around that comes around.
Yeah, I think it's all fair, and I'm just saying, like, I like what they're doing. It's just, as an Empire, as an exclusively Empire player, it's very tough to stomach this right now. I'm struggling, and I'm sure 4 to 6 months, right, something's going to happen, and we're going to have a completely different conversation, right? That's just how this game works, and I get that, right? And then we're going to be talking about how great Empire is and how, like, I don't know, droids suck or something, right? Like, I get that, I understand. It's just, it's a hot topic right now, right? Like, I'm just doing my hot topic today.
Yeah, no, you're good. The Imperial salt mines have been very, very full of salt.
Yeah.
So,
which
understandably.
Yeah, sure. And I don't think it's as bad and doom as gloom as everybody makes out to be, but but then when you see a release like this and you're like, all right. Like, okay.
I mean, I do like that. Like, clearly they're not getting any units out of this, but I do like that several of these upgrade cards are actually excellent for Empire.
Yes, for sure. All 4 of them, I think. Yeah, are all Imperial beneficial. So
yeah, specifically for Vader and Palpatine builds.
Yep.
But
I actually think Rebels probably make out of this the worst, probably.
Yeah, there's really not anything in here for Rebels except maybe like burst on Luke, but it's not really, like, it's not a game changer for him.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Any final thoughts?
Did we hit everything? I don't remember what the list was.
I think we did.
Okay.
If we didn't, we'll make it up next week. But I think we hit everything.
There's nothing. Let me just look at the AMG Twitter feed and make sure nothing else came out while we were talking.
Yeah. Final thoughts. I'm excited. It's the game is still alive, which is a positive, and things are still coming out. And I understand this is probably some of the last of what FFG had lined up before it went over to AMG, and that's okay. And it's just exciting. It's a good time to start getting back out, and the pandemic ending, and this is good. It's all good.
Yeah, and you can take all these sweet stuff and fight out over Rigel 4.
Stormtide, baby.
Right? You gotta use those force lifting barricades to lift barricades over the destroyed ruins of the strike on Rigel 4.
There you go.
You guys are gonna really like that. For all of you who end up playing it, it's gonna be amazing. So, all right.
Well, we are the Notorious Scoundrels. I'm Kyle.
I'm Mike.
And I am Jay.
Ban Force Lift.
There it is.